കേരള സംസ്ഥാന ചലച്ചിത്ര അക്കാദമി സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്ന 28ാമത് രാജ്യാന്തര ചലച്ചിത്രമേളയിലേക്ക് ഏവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 28th edition of the International Film Festival of Kerala, organized by the Kerala State Chalachitra Academy.
അടുത്തതായി വേദിയിൽ സംവിധായികയും തിരക്കഥാകൃത്തുമായ റീത ഗോമസും പ്രമുഖ മാധ്യമ പ്രവർത്തകയായ സരസ്വതി നാഗരാജനും തമ്മിലുള്ള സംഭാഷണമാണ്. സംഭാഷണത്തിന് ശേഷം ചോദ്യോത്തരം ഉണ്ടാവുന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്.
Now we are having a conversation with Rita Azevedo Gomes. She is a Portuguese director, screenwriter and a winner of several film festivals. We are having a conversation session with Rita Gomes and Saraswathy Nagarajan, who is a senior journalist in Hindu. So I would like to invite both of them to the dais.
Welcome to the International Film Festival of Kerala. As you know, Kerala and Portugal have a very long relationship. From the 1498 when Vasco da Gama first landed here on the shores of Kozhikode. So a lot of Portuguese words are part of Malayalam, our language too. So it's a very interesting, so glad to welcome you to this wonderful celebration of cinema. You are a multitasker, you are a curator, a graphic artist, a producer, a film director. Among all these various images, which do you think is your most favorite? How would you like to define yourself as? Which is your favorite persona?
The filmmaking.
The film.
Because yes, I do. I can do many things, and I like them very much. If you have if you are lucky that you can work in a theater play or in a opera production, or programming at the Cinematheque as I did for long years, or making beautiful editions or exhibitions or all that, it's very gratifying. But at a certain point, when I ask myself, why do I have to keep doing films? Maybe it's not necessary, you know. Why? So for a moment on, maybe on the third film, I thought maybe it's not necessary to make any more films. You can do other things. You can be happy doing exhibitions. But I had, when I was filming one film that I made with no subvention, which is the Altar, I realized that only in cinema, I mean, when you are shooting, it happens sometimes, not all the time, that you have the feeling that your place is there. I mean, you have the feeling. If I was not here now, I could not transmit the thing, you know, like if you were like a sensitive antenna, and that's what I do. I just try to get things go through me, and I can deliver them differently, because I believe everything is already made much before me. And so why we keep doing? And that's the big question. So it's better not to put the question and keep going and keep on doing it, because there will never be an answer.
You best enjoy your profession as a filmmaker the most of all, your identity as a filmmaker the most, right?
Sorry?
You enjoy your identity as a filmmaker
I don't enjoy,
the most.
I think it's my position in the world. It's like if I have to fulfill my destiny. I didn't choose to be this. I mean, it happened. Sometimes I think, wouldn't it be better to stay home quietly in the arms of a nice man, watching nice films on television, reading my books, listening, traveling, and just having someone to put his arm around my shoulder and be with the family. That was my ideal of life when I was young, to have your thing. But I can't avoid it, you know. So I try to accomplish it the best I can and the best I know. And I'm always in the beginning somehow. I'm always ready to learn, to experiment, to try differently.
Your films, many of them have a very strong connection with language. Many of them are literary adaptations. So there are characters who sing through the scenes. There are characters who recite verses. How strong are literary works, the connection between movies and language and literature? How would you see it?
I hold a lot on written texts, let's say literature or whatever, poems or maybe just a sentence, maybe, but I think the word, I give it a strong importance because the word itself brings with it an image. If you say chair, everybody knows maybe what a chair is, but everyone makes a different image of a chair, you know, but it makes an image. If you say cold, I make an image of each word. Everybody can bring the image down. And it can be several images in the same word, you know. And the word, it's maybe the first thing we start with talking, you know, when you are, before even starting seeing and wondering and asking questions, you try to go after the others now, but to speak. So the word, it's very important. So, and I like literature, and when there is a story that catches me, touches me, somehow that it's very strange. You are reading a book on the beach, a novel, and suddenly I don't know how and why you say it has to be a film. Because especially I don't understand what I'm reading. It's very enigmatic. This happened to me with a woman's revenge. Because I was asking to myself, what the hell does this woman want from it's a very strange character. So when it intrigues me, somehow it touches me because we always identify with films and literature. We project ourselves in art things, no? But also when there is a mystery, an enigma, that attracts me because I believe that's all that, maybe all that moves us is really the enigma and the mystery. We want the answers. I don't expect anymore to have the answers, you know, but I still go putting on questions and questions and questions. What is life? Where are we going to? What are we doing here? Who are we? This life itself is a great mystery. So I have the idea that when the mystery has an answer and becomes a fact, it's already a kind of a ruin.
So then you don't
There's
want
no
to
more
make it
to
into
dig
a
about,
movie.
you know. If you have all the answers, you don't. That's maybe what moves also children now. They want curiosity and to discover and to understand and probably to understand better ourselves. But I don't have that aim anymore because I think I will never know who I am. I will never have the answer, and maybe that's not so important.
It's
Maybe
a journey that is important, isn't it? It is a process that is more important than finding out all
Yeah,
these answers to these questions.
Yes, exactly.
You talked about your movie, A Woman's Revenge. Just to talk about it, it's about a woman who is hurried into a marriage and the husband leaves her and goes to war for 11 years. And he comes back, right, after that?
No, the Woman's Revenge is the Barbador Vidi tale. The husband, no, the husband doesn't come back. Maybe you are mixing with the
Portuguese woman. Sorry, I got it mixed up with the Portuguese woman.
Is that, no.
I read
A
that the
Woman's
Portuguese
Revenge.
woman was a book lying with you for 20 years and then you read it, is it? Or is that?
The Woman's Revenge?
Yes.
Yeah, it took me very long to make that film, like maybe 16 years, because I don't know why, I had I was determined to make this film. One.
A Woman's Revenge.
Then, to make it more complicated, I said, I need a studio. It's not easy. You need support, production, everything gets expensive. And So I tried to make it. I sent it several times to see if I could get some money to help the production, and say no, 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 no. But you have to be a bit stubborn. So 16 years after, I got a little money, and I got the studio. It was the nicest studio in Portugal, which is Tobish. It's a studio from the 30s, 40s, and it was like the only cinema studio in Portugal. And actually, it's funny because this film was the last film shot there, you know.
Okay.
Then it went to somebody's hands, and they make I don't know, conferences. Then they took all the light things, and so it was worth to wait. And sometimes I think that's again destiny. That if I had done the film immediately when I was on the beach, and I would never have made this film.
Yeah.
So 16 years after, it came in a form that probably could never happen because I'm always moving. I'm also moving. No, we are not the same. We are the same, but we are moving. So I take it like as it comes, but it took like But I needed the studio, and I didn't understand why. Probably because, yes, I wanted to experiment to film in a big studio like Satyajit Ray or Manel de Oliveira. Yes, a studio is like a whole black hole. You don't have. It's all you put in there. It's fabricated. It's a lie. It doesn't exist. You put light. It's black. There is no sound, and there is no image. There is nothing. It's a black thing with no sound. So each noise, each decor, each actor, each light, it's constructive, and I like that. I think you have to achieve some kind of truth. I don't know exactly what that is, but that thing we call truth, maybe you have to compose, to build, to architecture, to even if you have to focus before you unfocus, to make the older cameras, you unfocus and then you sharpen. It's a bit like that. So yes, you need to. Cinema is it's the only beautiful lie in the world. Cinema, with this big lie, it's all fake, aims to reach a certain truth, at least something that you don't betray yourself. If you are lost, you may say, I'm lost, it's normal. And sometimes when you are lost, suddenly you are in such a pressure and you have to save the situation, and incredible things happen, you know, like do I deserve this? And it's very strange.
What is the state in Portugal like? Normally cinema is a very patriarchal field with men dominating it more than. What is it like being a woman in Portugal, making films and producing movies as well?
Okay, being a woman, it's being a woman, so you have to deal with that. But we have to deal. I mean, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I mean, okay, this is a delicate subject because it's a very present discussion about this women rights, women. I think, I truly think myself that from my experience, I never was a man. Maybe I would like to try to be a man for one day, just to know how it is, because I'm very curious. I would like to die and come back, just to know how it is. It's not possible, and that's for me the thing that makes the relationships between people interesting. I can never go in his soul, in his gender. I may approach, we may connect, but we never can go in the other body and in the other masculine element. But we all bring a masculine and feminine inside. So I think it's really important that it's moving very slowly, but somehow it's changing, isn't it? We are at least talking about it, but I don't think the way is imposing, you know. And when I see women's film, women's this, women, no, I do my way differently. I try to behave according to those things I believe they are the right things to try to achieve in our wonderful planet. It's equality. What is it? We will never be equals because we are women and men, but we are persons. So let's forget she and he and make like an individual. If you start respecting your neighbor, your fellow, the one you meet in the street, and then if you try to be humble enough to be with each and any one of the others, and let him be, let him live as he likes, let him be what he is. Don't judge and accept. It will be wonderful, but maybe it will be paradise. And in paradise there is no music and there is no rock and roll and no and no dirt and we humans, we are a very strange being because we have an animal part, but then we have the brain that puts questions. So it was not easy, but I never realized when I was young that it was not easy because I was a woman. I was used to that at home. You know, I lived with a family with 3 elder brothers, and I was the chippy around. So I had no right to speak to. It was not right. I mean, it was not supposed to me to give opinions at table. We were under a dictatorship.
That sounds very familiar, Rita.
Yeah, so for me it was my condition, you know. And I always tried to do things in the condition I knew. It's like your second skin. Then you start thinking, okay, but why can't I speak at table? Why can't I say so? Why can't I go? Why can't I be? And then you try to change around and to change yourself mainly. You know, but I can accept many things, but obviously I don't like to be smashed and then I can stand up and fight for my rights, but follow these kind of movements that are kind of passing preoccupations. Some years ago it was the pedophile matter, and everybody in the world was worried. Then there was the gay movement. It was almost like a tyranny. If you have a gay film in a gay, I mean, you have the way, you know. And I would never in my life, maybe things will not go as in the Hyatt thing of highlights, but I will not betray myself. I think I will never. I try not to make a film for interest. Like if I make a film on a strong subject, like child abuse, for instance, obviously it's a film it's maybe necessary and maybe very welcome because of what it treats. And I always ask in the end, but is the film good? I love very much films, you know. So first of all, I try to see the film out of the planet, just as it is. Try to look at the film as if it's the first film you see in your life. It's very difficult. Try to have the first clean look. Like there was a moment in your life where you surely saw a dog for the first time. that astonishment that maybe a baby 1 year old has, the surprise of something that you don't know, that you have never seen, and then you don't see it. It's a dog and it has fur, and now it just feel the thing. So wouldn't it be nice if we could look at the things as with a completely clean look, you know? It's very difficult, but that would be maybe very helpful, because when we go with our head full of previous ideas and concepts and positions and convenience and political things and diplomatic things, and you go to watch a film, you get a bit direct,
Like a horse wearing blinkers.
and you are not free anymore to watch the film without previous information. And yes, I think
You talked a little bit about you growing up with 3 brothers, but I've read somewhere that your mother was the first person who introduced you to movies. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about your... You talked about your 3 brothers, right? But tell us a little bit about your childhood. Your mother was the first person who took you to movies a lot. Is it like that? Who introduced you to films?
my mother was someone very, very important in my life, and she still is. Because I didn't realize then. I thought it was normal when I'm 12 and my mother says, you come to me to the cinema, because we could not go to the cinema alone. It's the fascist dictatorship, so the film were qualified, 12 years old, 18. So if I come with my mother, I can go in the cinema. And I was very proud to go with my mother. She took me to concerts, to exhibitions, because she liked this very much. She was a singer. She was singing lead, Schubert, Schumann, you know. But when she got married, it's always the dictator regime. She was married to a very famous surgeon, doctor, medical thing, my father, and it was not well seen in society that the wife of doctor so-and-so has a job, goes to the cinema all by herself, smokes, dances, travels, and she was very daring, but when she got married, she had to put aside all those things, you know. She stopped working, she stopped singing.
I'm sure a lot of Indian women are familiar with what you're talking about. I think our mother's generation, a lot of women had to go through this process.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I believe you also have this heritage of cultural things, yeah. But besides the cultural things, there was really the regime, because for instance, my mother could not leave the country without the permission of the husband, you know. And she could not bring us to Spain to buy candies. The frontier is just right there, without my father's consentment side, and all in, yeah, so it's a mixture of cultural things and impositions from the regime. So you live your early youth in a strength jacket somehow. But as you have always lived with that, you don't realize you have it on, you know? It's like, that's what the dictatorships do to you. They don't give you the right, you don't have the right, so you just forget you have the right. They kind of, it's 40 years of this, so you can't, okay, I can't. You don't even ask why can't I, you know? You are used to know and know, so okay, you have to, you can't. You are born with this, so you don't put the question so easily, because under a dictator regime, you don't have right, and you forget you have the right. That's
What
very
happens.
easy, and it works on people, you know.
You were a film curator, and you've been curating for movies. Now, in this new world, where we have OTT films and platform-driven movie channels on platforms, how do you see the whole film culture evolving? Not everyone has to go to a theater to see a movie, but otherwise movie watching was a collective effort. You sat together in a darkened hall and watched a movie together. Now with OTT, where do you see how do you see the role of the curator changing, and how do you see the evolution of theaters and film festivals as such?
I don't see it so clearly. I think my opinion on this new state of things is still not formed. I think it's changed a lot. I think for one side it's wonderful that, for instance, someone who likes cinema and wants to know about and follow, maybe in a small village in India or in Italy that doesn't even have a cinema, can see films. It's a prodigy. It's very nice. It's very good. I know someone, for instance, that afterwards became, do you understand my English? Yeah. Someone that was Nicola Zalbert. I met him in Torino Film Festival many years ago, maybe with my first film. And this young man was...
The sound of the shaking earth was your first film,
yes,
right?
the sound of the earth shaking, yeah. And Nicolas, this young, enthusiastic young man for cinema, was living in Toulouse, south of France. And he came a cinephile, and he went to study cinema, and he went to be a great cinema critic. Then he was in the Cahiers du Cinéma, which is a very well-recognized magazine that changed the opinion on cinema, I think, in Europe. And why? Because he could watch a program that was running in Italy. It was Enrico Ghezzi program, Fuori Orari, out of...
For Your Eye.
Fuori Orari, that was running. I think it still exists. It's maybe the most lasting program in the world, because more than 20, I don't know how many years, because it's at 3 o'clock in the morning, so they don't care, and they let him program whatever he wants. So this guy, Enrico Ghezzi, is a crazy and marvelous and very ingenious guy, makes a program with all kinds of things that he likes. You can watch maybe an advertisement from South Korea, publicity thing, then watch Règle du jeu, de Jean Renoir, then watch all the wonders. And he became a cinephile, and because he had this possibility of watching films late in Raitre. So I think there is a use of spreading of making possible, but there is nothing to do with the cinema experience. It's another thing. You can't watch. You remember when there were these little televisions? Mm-hmm. It was nice to bring to the hospital, like a matchbox, and there were delicious, like toys, this side, and a small screen, and you could watch television on a screen like that.
Most people do it on their mobile now. They can watch movies
now
on
the
their
mobile does the job. But then, but that time there was no mobile, so this has a huge effect. And suddenly there was this young, do you know Kubelka, who was an historian, someone who knew a lot about cinema. And once he said, you can't be using this, maybe sitting under a tree and watching Carlo Theodor Dreyer Ordet for a few minutes. It's not the same that you sit in a cinema room and see the film. And it gives, I think it has a risk, you know, because it's like fire. And when fire appears, you have to be careful and keep it in its place and hold it and care for it, and otherwise it will be wild. And this is getting a bit wild. I have some one student once told me, oh, I just discovered a very, very nice film. He was very excited. This was not directly with me, it was with a friend who was teaching. I'm not a teacher at all, but it was with someone who was teaching cinema in the university. And he said, I discovered La Règle du Jeu, the Jean Renoir, French director. And it's sublime. It's wonderful. Oh, the teacher was rather enthusiastic. Oh, you saw that film? No, I just saw the first 5 minutes. I will watch the... And then, you know, okay, he will never see the film. Because a film normally has a movement. And cinema is time. It's an art that works with time and light. That's all. So if you cut it in pieces, yes, maybe you have a good idea and you see a wonderful scene, but you don't have the
arc. The entire arc of the movie would be missing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You have also been very inspired by Manuel de Oliveira, who has been to India, and you've also made a documentary on him. What has been his inspiration or his influence on you, or has there been any influence?
Well, Manuel de Oliveira is someone who I admire immensely and who for whom I have an immense esteem and admiration, and he was a very, very, on the contrary of what people may think, he was very ironic, very funny, and very, yeah, he was, he had a sense of humor, and the sense of humor is very important. He had always the right joke, the right sentence at the precise moment, anywhere he was. He was a presence, how do you say it in English? His spirit was present instantly. Well, I had the luck to work in his Francisca, one of his films. That's all I did with him, because the producer kept me out immediately. You and Oliveira, never more. Because I didn't know anything about cinema, I confess, and I still don't know if I know much, but I'm ready to improve. But Manuel had made this film, which was a very strange film, Amor de Perdição. And I saw the film from up there in the cabin. It was a private screening for the team and for Oliveira and the crew. But I managed to hide back there and see the film from up there. And I was very, very intrigued. And I said to the guys next to me, actually it was João Botelho and my ex-husband, and I said, I want to know how he does these things. I want to approach. So I tried to reach him, and it was how it worked. He was having lunch somewhere, and somebody said, if you want to catch Oliveira, he's having lunch there. So I ran. I went into the restaurant. He was having lunch with the Minister of Culture, and I have to be bold then. I'm very shy, but I was really blushing, but I said, Mr. Oliveira, I'd like to work with you. I know he was preparing the film. He sent me to the producer because the team was already ready.
Already done.
So I made a little bluff. I ran to the producer and I said, okay, I'm here because Mr. Manuel de Oliveira sent me to you. He wants me to be in his film. And I won. So I went in this film. And that was, I was an observer. I was working very, very hard. But yes, it's. I learned a lot, and I still am led for some of the things that I observed in the film, you know. And then Manuel de Oliveira, and João Bernardo da Costa are two very important films in my personal life and my cinematographic life, let's say so. Because career, I don't know exactly. For me, the career, it was the buzz, you know, to take the buzz. A carreira é para os autocarros, mas a experiência of making films, yes, I think these two guys are very important. I worked with João Bernardo Costa, was the previous director of the Portuguese Film Archive, where I've worked for 30 years. He was a very, very, very close friend. He was a marvelous man, and it was a charm to talk to him because he was a storyteller. He had a gift to tell stories. He was very
At the
entertaining.
end of the day, a filmmaker is a storyteller, isn't it? You kind of enchant
And then I
people.
was in between them because I'm younger 20 years than João, more or less, and João is 20 years younger than Manuel de Oliveira. And I see these three generations. And so I suggested because I assisted several times when Manuel de Oliveira appears at the Cinemateca where we were working, anything will certainly happen that will be something nice to tell afterwards in the future. A small detail, a small joke, a small thing, accident, something always happens. And João Bernardo Costa has a great admiration for Manuel, and Manuel vice versa, because João Bernardo Costa was running the service of cinema in one of the most important cultural and scientific foundations in Lisbon, so he had a huge position in Portuguese culture. So they have this esteem, but they are not the kind of people that say, let's make a travel together, let's have dinner together, you know. They keep the distance cordially. And I did like that thing between them. So besides the things they tell in the film, I want to capture also this kind of friendship with a very polite way of leading the relation till the end, because maybe sometimes they don't agree, but they don't want to disagree. So they agree the most important thing is to carry this beautiful relation till the end, and I like that.
Rita, I think the audience are waiting to ask you questions. Maybe we can open the floor to them so that they might want to ask you more about your work and your approach towards filmmaking.
Please do ask something, otherwise I have to talk. We have to say something to me. Ah.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, sorry, good evening. I've seen many movies, about 15,000 movies.
How many?
15,000 minimum. Yeah.
Question brief.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಟೈಮ್ ಕಡಿಗು. Don't worry. Yeah.
Question
I know. I have participated in 500 seminars. Yeah. My question is, you said that whether it's women or man, the work is same. The work involves the same. You have to know the script, you have to know the story, you have to know how to handle camera, how to handle editing, how to handle art direction. And I want to know, what are your most famous films? Your most famous films. Your most famous. Your
Famous.
most. Huh?
What are my most famous films?
Yeah. And actually, like recently, globally, all the films are getting degenerated. In Japan, in Korea, I've seen films since 1.5 year. Yeah, I'm asking question. Please sit down for some time. Yeah. So,
I mean, I don't know if
degenerated. All Japanese films, Korean films since 1 year, they're getting degenerated globally. So that's my question. What are your famous movies? And the films are the greatest filmmakers from Japan, Korea, China. They're all doing very bad films since 2 years. What is the reason?
I don't know what's my most famous film because A Woman's Revenge, because you know my way was very slow. Let's say I made the first film. I only could make the second film like 10 years after. I was already puff. So you make your first film, and you are not allowed to film for more 20 years, 10 years. Then you make your second, you have to wait like 5 or I don't know how many years. I was getting very impatient. So when I make the second film, I decided to make the third immediately after. And the producer said, okay, you are on your own, because you have to wait. You are in Venice with the film. Calm. I'm not calm, because I feel, I don't know if I know, but I feel that this kind of thing that touches, like we can call creativity, whatever that is kind of beast that feeds from itself. You have to keep being creative all the time, otherwise it's like you ride a bicycle and for 20 years you don't ride a bicycle, and one day you decide to go on the bicycle and you will fall. You can't ask an opera singer to go home and be quiet for 10 years and now you go and see and sing Casta Diva. You have to practice every day. It's your work. And if you don't do that, you block. So very slowly, I didn't give up, and that was the first time I put myself the question, but why do I need really to make another film? Maybe I could do different things. And I understand only in cinema there are these moments where you feel if you were not there, you would not give this to the world. It has to be you. It was through me. So I felt I have this thing, I don't know. And it took very long that they start accepting my films in Portugal, when they start seeing films abroad. And suddenly with Fragile with the World, which is in
Your
2000.
Your movie went on to be at the Berlinale, then it went to Locarno, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it won
But
a lot
it was
of awards
after
too.
maybe, the first one maybe was Fragile
yes.
as well, when it went to Venice, and it was a bit,
Yes.
oh, there is a Rita somewhere. And then
I think
it
that
takes
is
long
Fragile
and
as
long.
the
And,
World, isn't it,
and
at
now
Venice?
it's a boom, which I take very, very thankful, but which somehow scares me, because, you know, we have our egos, and when your head starts going up, you have to put it down, because it's not up there that you will do anything useful, and focus on what you have to do and not flirting around. So it took like 30 years to see, very strangely, this first film, The Sound of the Earth, like
Sound of the
put
Shaking
in a platform like a cult movie. And I said, Jesus Christ, they are all crazy. 30 years ago it was null.
That was
and
in
now it's top of the
1989,
hill.
right? Rita, it was in
Where
1989.
where is the truth?
1989, Sound of the Shaking Earth,
Yeah.
right? So
See,
it became a
yeah,
cult
maybe
movie.
that, 99. So, and suddenly I see a cover of a very important magazine in Spain. The cover is me and my films, and I don't know how many pages. And this has become suddenly a cult movie. Okay, but it's somehow rewarding, because when I had the film made and put in oblivion, I heard some interesting things too that encouraged me, and somehow to my buttons I said, okay, I didn't kill anyone, the film is there, maybe one day it will speak by itself. So 30 years after, boom, cult movie, okay. So what is the most famous? Maybe, I hope it is the last one.
Oh, I think there are more questions.
It's called the Trio en Mi bemol. The trio, que é gestalted trio in English. It's the last film I made, yeah.
Hi, ma'am. Mine is not a film-related question, but I'm right. Should I stand? Yeah. Mine is not a film-related question, but I'm a woman in my 20s, and just to see you and your spirit, you're so lively. And even yesterday during the inaugural function, you were just you're just beaming. But I do have a question. I want to know what's the secret.
Yeah, it's always good to know that people like us, isn't it? That's maybe all we do in life.
No, I don't want to
Please
know.
love me, please love me. That's what.
I don't want to know what's your secret.
She wants to know what's your secret behind your personality, your positive personality, your liveliness.
I have no secret.
You do have a secret.
No, I don't know. I don't have a secret. I can't avoid it. No, when you are talking, when I was coming here and I said, Jesus Christ, now we have to talk about cinema. I can't talk anymore. I don't have anything in my head. I haven't slept well and I saw a film and I'm still in the film. Okay, let's go and talk. But you start talking about these things. And the thing starts. It's like fire. I could go and film right away if they allow me, because it's like if you are starving, and you see food approaching, and you get the appetite. I really put it in a very organic thing. You feel like you desire, a need, a hunger. You have to feed that beast, the beast inside. And so, and I enjoy life besides all, and besides all the horrors around. I still can. I like to live, and that's a way of living, Just, I believe that sometimes reason blocks emotion. And I think the things I most like to feel when I'm watching a film, it's the emotional thing. I keep that emotion for my life, I saw one film when I was 13, and I still know very well that emotion. And the film was Splendor in the Grass, Elia Kazan film. It was very appropriated to me then. I was 13, not Hollywood's crisis of, and even all the social cliches and social behaves. It was really me, and I could identify me so much with this film that I really, for a week, I could not speak to anyone about the film. Only I could understand the film that way. And even today, I don't know how to express that emotion. So, and sometimes I think kills the emotion. Either it prepares. I don't say at all stop thinking. On the other hand, but my natural way of approaching is more like I feel the intuition. I follow my intuition, but the intuition alone doesn't serve very much. Then you have to work and reflect, and ask things and put yourself some questions. Right? Isn't it?
Completely.
Yeah.
Does it answer your question?
So there is no secret. It just
We've just time for 2 more questions, perhaps. So, is there someone else who'd like to ask questions from behind?
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am,
sorry.
I hope you're doing well. My question is about films.
I'm doing perfectly. Look at me. You see, I'm emotional.
Yes, I can see, ma'am.
Okay.
In any art form, you express yourself, right? In paintings, in writing, it's very different from cinema. In cinema, you have to deal with other perspectives. You talked about working for a studio, and you have to work with the perspective of the actors. So were you completely able to express yourself throughout your work, or did you have to find that middle ground a lot?
I don't know. There is no way, you know. I don't know. I cannot sincerely transmit a way of doing. Each film puts me in a different situation. What I try, I don't even know if I really reach anything. And I'm very glad when you think or when you have that, like inviting me to be here. And I said, are they reasonable people? But I have to trust them, and I have to trust the people who believe that my work is worth for something, but each film, there is no method, you know. Maybe I have this method of risking and let myself go. It puts you in a very risky situation, you know. But maybe I like risk. Risk puts me like in a emergency, like if you have to save a life, you know. And when you have an old team looking at you and saying, okay, now what's next? What do you want? And you don't know what to say to them. What do? You have to do something. I think I feel like I'm responsible there, you know. Because maybe as it took me so long and it was so difficult to film, when I'm lucky enough that I'm filming, I cannot give myself to the luxury of saying, okay, I won't film because I asked for yellow roses and you brought me red roses, so let's wait and we'll film it tomorrow. I don't understand that. And I watch that all the time in movie making, and I don't say it's wrong or right. It's something that overtakes me. When everything, let's go back to the first film, so that you can understand maybe a little bit of me.
How old were you when you made your first film? 1989.
So I was born in 52. I was not so young. But I never made the cinema school.
So you were in your 30s. You were in your 30s when
I
you
didn't
made
know
your first
anything
movie.
about cinema, and I make a total bluff. I said I could make it, but I mean, and I still believe the best way of making films, it's experiment, watch films. And sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had made the cinema school. I would have all the directions. Because I kept listening all the time in my life. That's not the way you are supposed to do it. That's not the way we do it. That's not the way things should be done. And I ask why. And they don't have the answer. So let's try and do it like that. You can't make a scene where it's daylight there and then the actor comes, sits here and it's night. You cannot change the light in the same frame. Why? And I changed it, and it works. So I'm very happy to try to do differently, even in small
Challenge those kind of.
Try, yeah.
Last question.
I'm sorry, I keep talking and talking.
No, it's very interesting. We're loving it.
There is really not a method.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
Whatever the creativity, even if it is making film or acting, what do you think it's acquired or it is innate?
Is it innate? Is it something within you, or is it acquired? Can you learn it? Acquire. Acting is
I don't have the answer. Maybe you can acquire and you can do all the academical way and learn or not. There are very good filmmakers that have that way, you know, and others that don't have that way. I like very much to be completely free. And when there is something that is imposed, even if it's for the benefit of the success for the film, for instance, but if it's not really what I think it's best in my point of view, I don't take it. For instance, you say, why do you work with the actor, some actor that it's not known at all, and why don't you choose, for instance, Madame Isabelle Huppert? Because it will be good for the film. Isabelle Huppert makes the film appear more, maybe. But do I really, would I really take good relation with her? If I don't feel, if she doesn't interest me as a person, I will never take it. Do you understand? So, I think I lost a bit your question. That was... is filmmaking, the creative part, is it acquired or innate? Yeah, it can be both. In my case, I don't think it's only innate, but once I guess I have it, I work it. I work it and I work it and I work it, yes, as much as I can.
Rita,
it can be both, you know. You can, but for me, something. It's a bit. Maybe I explained it better. It's something that has to be something that comes from the inside to the outside, never from the outside to the inside. You know, if you tell me there is a producer among you all that comes and asks me, I will produce your film if you make a film on children, abused children. Maybe I will not accept the proposition, even if it makes me rich, because something that it's not true, that it comes out of me now at this moment of my life, you know. So I will not start that way. I will start always with something that comes from me and that I try to put out. And then obviously I bring many things from the outside to feed this idea, but it's something that always comes first from me.
Rita, what are your impressions, little impressions that you came during the last couple of days about Kerala and the IFFK?
What's my impression? I mean, this is very
It's too early, I know, but even then, about the festival,
yeah, till now, it's a very, very good impression, I tell you. I was talking about it even last night after the opening session, that it's really, I think, only you people here in Kerala who'd make a session like last night in a tent, open air tent. And I thought, it's not a compliment for it's really what I felt. And suddenly I was thinking, this was the beginning of cinema. Tents with some crazy guys screening films inside and people gathering to see the film together, you know. And it was in another scale, another dimension. Trees and sunset was still there, and suddenly the night comes and let the film. It was. I never saw that any place in the world like that in a communion thing. I felt an energy coming from the audience, you. Even I didn't understand a word. I'm so sorry. So for me, I was a bit lost in the conversation, but I felt the atmosphere, and there were this. Besides all the sea of people. They behaved like they were listening every word, every speech. Must be a bit boring, but they were very, very, very capturing. And behind there was the walls, and on the walls there were still young men and young people hanging, and like people who stay outside of the circus tent and try to look. And that was really for me a session of. Well, I didn't assist the film, but the energy of the the environment and the circle, and it was really a very nice feeling. That I will keep as a good emotion.
Thank you very much, Rita. Thank you so much. I'm sure they would love to see the movies that are being screened here. Some of your movies, for many of us, would be seeing it for the first time. And I hope you have a great stay, and you will take back wonderful memories with you when you go back to Portugal. And you will come again
Thank you.
with your movies to Kerala.
I hope so. And if you want to know what do I do, I think there is a film that is going to be screened here, but it's at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Which is that?
I don't know. I mean, just skipped my mind that I had a film here. And today in the meeting of the jury, that they started, we must see each other's films. And I said, but why have a film here? Yes, you do. So it's the Portuguese woman, yeah.
Okay, can you tell the one line of the Portuguese book? It's a very intriguing story that I read
Yes,
about.
it's a very intriguing.
Such an intriguing story, you know?
Yeah. It's maybe what we call a epoch film. It's a
It's
medieval
in a different period, isn't it?
a medieval film, a medieval story that happens while the Council of Trento is running and the treatment of peace is going to be signed. So this is 15th century, 16th. So. But I found in this story, let's say this story life, something that is actually I bring all these old stories into the present because they are talking about us. And it was the huge moment of refugees dying on the Mediterranean seas, escaping from death. Mm-hmm. And this is also a story of an exiled girl that has to go to Trento. Mm-hmm. And there is a question of wars and question of power and question of vanity. And it's always the same since mankind habits the planet. Vanity,
ego,
vanity, and yes, and arrogance, yes, and vanity is very, very, it's in all of us. I mean, I cannot lie. I feel a bit. It's a good vanity that I feel. It's like a pride that I'm glad that I didn't give up. You know, so I think you feel a bit proud of yourself. That's not a sin.
It's a good thing, isn't it?
But when you get arrogant, then it's so. And this is a story based on another epoch. But I immediately listened to our taste. So I realized, because after there come the critics and things they say about what you, and it's interesting because they see things we haven't think about, but maybe they are right. So I realized that in all my films, there has been this constant thing, maybe a provocative, that's saying, okay, this is very beautiful, but it's all a lie, and life is here. And so I put in the middle of the film someone reading the script, and I opened the door in the studio and we see the cars outside, like if I had the need of landing on the present, you know. Because when I leave the studio at 5 o'clock in the morning, I go driving home tired and angry, and I'm still human, and I'm still living in the 20th century, I never lived in the 15th century. So I bring the stories to the present, yeah. When it's a good literature, when it's good, it's talking about us, no? And so our feelings don't change so much.
Yeah, our emotions are universal, isn't it?
No,
yeah. Thank you, Rita. Thank you very much for that very nice conversation.
No.
Thanks a lot.